Okay. Okay, everybody, glad to have you today. I'm Colleen Lanier, and what we're going to do is talk about a few things that you can find on Orbit and find ways to use that. And we'll also talk about the membership application form and other things, anything else y'all can think of you want to talk about with membership or Orbit, anything somewhat related, just let me know. You will see my own personal information on here, but you will see some secrets about me, but you won't see anything that you can use for your own good, okay? Okay, that. Okay. So sometimes I'm going to show you this. I put in my username and my password. And sometimes it'll ask you to go back on again, but this time it didn't ask me to do that. First of all, if you don't need to do anything else on Orbit, you can go up here and click on Forms if you just need a form, and it will list all the forms that are there. Okay? But in this case, we're just going to go back. We'll talk more about forms in a few minutes. Oh, okay. So, and usually they're alphabetized correctly, but sometimes when it comes to letters, they're not necessarily, they do the numbers first and then they do alphabetical order. Now, the reason I started on this one is there anybody who did not remember your username or password in Orbit, or is everybody past that?
I probably don't know mine. I haven't tried to use it.
All right, so it's easy to get your username, all right? And if you can get that, then you can change your password. So what you do, you just click on forgot username, and then they will, it'll come up, a screen will come up and it will ask for your, might ask you one of those security questions, or it might ask the last four of your social or something like that. And then they will send your username to your email that's connected with Orbit. Now, let's suppose, like this happens with people I work with on Orbit, they no longer have that same email address. In that case, they can call the retirement system, or they can do a affidavit form. I think it's easier just to call and get that changed, because they can do that in about 5 minutes once you get them. So you see what I told you, sometimes it'll just go, there's an error, even though there's not. And I tell people that's a normal thing.
Colleen, we have a question. What is Orbit? What is Orbit? Some have never seen Orbit, never used Orbit, so they don't know what
well,
Orbit
thank you so much. Okay, so Orbit is the way you can navigate your information about retirement. And notice how it's spelled. As I work with people working on retirement, a lot of them try to do orbits, like the travel company, whatever it is, but this is Orbit, like orbit around your area that you're working on, and anything connected with retirement, which I'm getting ready to show you that. Okay. Thank you. I want questions like that. Now, and you can change your password, and I can tell you, don't do anything cutesy for your password. Do something that you are going to be able to remember. It just makes it easier. So it comes up to this because I put mine in. Now you can see there's nothing on the screen except for Dale Falwell and a letter from him. I always like to tell people when they look on this, first of all, see if there's some kind of notice that they received. In this case, it's telling you about how they changed things in January 2023. Most of us remember that. Some people got caught by surprise when they changed taxes and they didn't heed the advice from the retirement system, and they got taxed higher without changing their tax bracket. And we're going to talk about that too. So you can see
that happened. Colleen,
yes,
that happened to me this year.
Correct. Yeah, there are several people it happened to, and the retirement system sent you.
And I missed it, and I've got, I have a problem.
Yeah. Yes, so you can change it, Pat. So you'll see today, if you haven't already changed it, what you can do. All right, now I'm going to the left and I'm going to select account. You can see there are two accounts for me. One is my active membership when I was an employee, And the top one is the one I'm on retirees. I want to show the employee first. Okay. This is the one when I was working before I retired. If I wanted to change my beneficiary, if I still had a beneficiary, I would go right here and I would change my beneficiary. In my case, I don't have one, and I'll tell you why. That's because I've been retired long enough that there is no money left that I paid in, and I didn't choose any option other than the maximum. Okay, if I had chosen one of the other options, there would be a beneficiary in there, but I could change it if I needed to. Right on the menu on the left is where I found that. And
Colleen, someone
Yes.
said, move your cursor up to the top and
Mhm.
point out the web address where you go to find Orbit. Way up at the top of your screen, it says orbit.myncretirement.com.
Okay, let me tell you, it is easier to Google Orbit login.
Okay.
Okay, Orbit login. Thank you for asking about that. But if you want to know that, it's my NCAE retirement. All right, but now that's my active one. All right, but now I'm going to go back up to select accounts, and I'm going to go on the one now where I'm a retiree. So you can see there are several items over here as a retiree. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you that if you wanted to do the changes in your health plan in the fall when we do open enrollment, you can go right here and click on that. You will leave Orbit to do that online. I'm a person who prefers to call to change that, but you can do it online. I also want to show you maintain personal information. I told you you would know all my secrets, okay? So you can see right
Colleen,
here.
Colleen, I had a question yesterday about the health plan, and
Yes.
someone thought that it was automatic, and now they're in trouble with the doctor. So I told them, I gave them your email. I said, explain your situation to Colleen, and I'm sure she will try to help you get in touch with the state health plan. But I also gave her their number too.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when there's open enrollment and they need to take action,
Right.
then this person did not take action, and now they're paying the price. Yeah.
Yes, and she is not a member as far as you and I know. She has not responded to me, so I didn't email her since I didn't see her as a member because you gave her my information. Okay. If she joins, I'll be glad to help her go through it, but you gave her the right information, just call it retirement system.
Right.
So when you go on and look at your personal information, if you don't have your cell phone connected, you can put it right on the right. You can see I've got mine. And of course, I don't have a work number, so I didn't put anything there. You can easily put that without making any changes. Just edit that and change it. Also, look down here where it says mobile phone number, and you can see I've got that connected too. When you do that, if you change that or add it, you're going to get a text to make sure you're the person doing it. And if you are the person doing it and you put in the text number, it will update that. Same thing about your email. That's my personal email address. I can change that once I'm online because sometimes we change our email address. If that's like I told you earlier, if that's the one that you're using to get into Orbit, you're going to have to call Orbit or fill out an affidavit form of identity. So it's easier to call Orbit to get them to change it for you. But you'll have to verify who you are, telling all your little secrets like your date of birth, the last four of your social, those kinds of things. All right. And that's the main thing on your personal information. Now, maintain direct deposit. Suppose, all right, we'll go to this. If I click on that, you can see that I do my account with Wells Fargo. My husband recently changed his to his checking account with State Employees Credit Union. He could do this right online. So instead of you calling the retirement system, say, I've got new information, you can go on here, right here, and update your banking information if you need to. And
Colleen, we had a question. If somebody retired from another state,
yes.
Can they create an Orbit account?
If did they have any time in North Carolina?
No, they retired in California. It's Mark.
No.
Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they would not do it because it's with our retirement plan. But now they could go, they probably would Google California retirement. I would Google that and see if there's something they have that is like our Orbit plan.
What if he left his North Carolina money in North Carolina retirement plan? He could still
Yes.
go in. Yeah.
Then he can do that, yes. But he
I
said,
don't
she
know
said
that that's
no.
true. I was
Right.
just, yeah.
I think Harold said no, that he did not.
Mhm.
Yeah, he sure could. Okay, so you can do your bank. Now your tax withholding. Okay, you look at this, and when you do that, all right, you can see I did this way back in 2004. And so at the time I did federal single and 2 allowances. So I could change that if I wanted to and change it to jointly and no allowances. But you can edit that right online if you need to change it. This is what Pat and some other people had to do this year when they found out they owed more money. So that's the way you can update that. Now your tax documents, all right, you can go right on here. And it's got all your years. It's got your last several years if you need to go on there to get your tax documents. You can print that from that and get a copy of that. And, here's one. Somebody just called me about this last Friday. Okay, this person said, I need to show that I get a pension check so that I can get a loan. So she can go right on here. She can fill out this information to get a letter of verification showing what her pension is and that she has a regular pension check. So see, these are things you can do without calling the retirement system and bothering them. They don't mind being bothered, but they also get thousands of calls a day. So it's better if you can try to do some of this stuff online. And you can always call me if you need me to help you walk through some of this stuff. I'll do it. Now, this is, some of us had contributory death benefit. You can see I got it at a time when it was only $10 a month and I'm paying that. So if you have that contributory death benefit, you want to tell your beneficiary about this. If you don't have a beneficiary, then it would go to your estate. Since I told you my money's gone that I paid in, and so now my husband automatically would be my beneficiary. And if he had passed away, it would go to my my estate.
Colleen, I get calls every week from family members who have lost a retired teacher, and
Yes.
they ask me, was there any death benefit or life insurance with the state?
Yes.
I tell them to call because I don't know.
Yes,
that.
I have a little, when I get through showing you this, I'm going to show you, I've got a little thing that I typed up this morning to show that, because people, that's one thing people are going to ask about the death benefit. So I typed up something I thought people might want
Okay.
to see that in writing.
Great.
Okay. So then also, okay, earnable allowance. Suppose you're one of those folks who wanted to go back to work and you say, I want to know what my earnable allowance is. You can click on that to see, so that you don't go over that 50% of the last 12 months that you worked before you retired. And Pat has her hand raised. Pat?
Colleen, in your presentation, will you cover when a member, I had a member whose husband died in December 2023.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she was close to 90 plus, but her husband handled all of her repayments. So it took me, she was delayed about 3 months, but it took me almost a month to get up with the family to get her reinstated. And how the insurance, the contributory insurance would affect if they don't get that membership back in status before the audit. She had been delinquent for 3 months.
Okay.
But the auditor had not done the books, which I got her reinstated before the auditor did the books. If the auditor
So that you're bouncing a lot, Pat. So I'm going to talk about a little bit more after I do this last thing on Orbit. I'll talk about that. But also, your voice is bouncing.
I'm sorry, Colleen.
Her
Yes.
being reinstated. she
Uh-huh.
would have lost all of her contributory. Am I making sense?
You are making sense, but let's hang on because that's not correct information.
At
So we'll
what
talk
point
in
do
a minute.
you lose your
You know, let me talk about that in a few minutes, Pat. I don't think she
Pat-
can hear me.
Pat Reagan.
Is what I'm
Pat-
asking.
She can't hear
Put
me.
your- Pat Reagan, put your comments in the
I'm
chat
I'm
because your
I'm in a
reception
senior
is bad.
citizen complex.
Yeah,
Do-
She's on the phone. She's on a phone, Tara.
yeah. So, but she can chat on,
She can put it in the chat.
yeah. But I know what she wants to ask, okay?
do-
All right. So here is one of my
Yeah.
favorite things on this menu. Maybe mute her for a few minutes there. if That's okay.
Yes,
Look
ma'am.
at the bottom one here. It says
Hard for me-
reach.
It's hard
a
for me to
counselor?
operate.
Could you mute?
She's
Maybe.
muted.
Okay, all right. So I hit reach a counselor instead of you going on and holding on and waiting for them to talk to you. Then you can go right there to reach a counselor. You're going to choose the topic. Okay, death seems to be our topic today. So you could choose death, and it's got my email address. I would put in my cell phone number the way I want them to call me, and then I would put my message about what I wanted to ask them, anything I wanted to ask them. Okay, and then I submit it. And you can look, there's a whole thing that it might be about forms. You might say, I want that death benefit form. It might be, I was overpaid. What do I do about that? Tax issues, whatever. You can put that in comment without calling and they will respond to you. They usually say give them 48 hours, but this is important. Linda Gunter and I sit in on the treasurer's meeting and they say this every time. Do not repeat yourself. Do not call them and also submit an email and also reach a counselor because that's 3 times they're going to answer the same question. Okay. Before I leave Orbit and I'll talk about the death benefit, is there anything else y'all want to ask about this? Are we clear on Orbit? It's a wonderful tool. People just don't think to use it. It will tell you at the top of the screen if there's something going on, like we're going to get a raise or something like that. It might show you that your taxes will be different, so you might notice that. Please don't call them. Since you're a member, do not call them if your money is different. Try first looking at your account on here and see what your payments are, or call me if you've not, or your region legislative chair, because they probably will know if something different has happened. Okay. All right, so I need to go back to. So I want to stop screen share if I can do that. Let's see, let me go to this. Oh, okay. So here's the one, good, about the death benefit, okay? So first of all, if you have a significant other or family member who is a member of the Teachers and State Employees System, teasers, you report that as soon as you possibly can. Pension money that's given to you after death to that person has to be returned. So if they're sending a paper check, which most of us are not paper check, that check should not be cashed. Once that person dies, it should be returned to death benefits at the NC Treasurer's office. If it's direct deposit, then the bank has got to return that money. You can call the retirement system. I put the phone number here, or there's a form online you can get. They used to have an 800 number, which I had on my filing cabinet right here, but that number, they're like NCAE. They're saving money now, so they just use this 919 number. So you can call that. If you don't have this information here, when you go to Orbit, the top right, it says contact us, and it will show you their phone number. They also take a break every day between 11:30 and I think 12:30. So don't call during that time. Today, I noticed they're taking a break from 11:30 to 2:15 so that they can have some kind of mandatory meeting, but they'll usually let you know that. If you want to get that form and don't want to talk to anybody, then what I did was Google reporting the death of a teasers member. And then once you come to that, it'll say death benefits, and you click on the one that says report a member death. Some people like to talk about it. I will tell you, because we had the spouse of a member who passed away last month, her husband had contacted me and I told him to call or go online, and he called and he sent me back a response and said, I did hear from them, but they were not compassionate at all. So just be prepared for that. They're doing their job, but I know we want somebody who says, you know, I'm sorry your wife passed away, but just be ready for them, because sometimes they might get matter of fact and get on with it. So you
Colleen, what is the 919 number?
can they see this? They not see my
I,
screen?
I don't see it.
Ooh, okay. So how do I go? I got to go back to, thank you. How do I go back to share my screen? Let's go. It's not at the bottom. Let's see.
You may have to stop sharing and restart. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to,
screen.
that's what I figured, but I don't see stop sharing screen on here.
Carol, stop her screen from sharing.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you.
While you're looking,
Uh-huh.
Colleen,
Yeah.
when my husband died, the funeral home took care of all contacting the state. They did all that. I didn't have
Right.
to do any of it. So
That's good. And Linda Gunter and I were talking about that the other day and said that may happen, but this guy, I think he just wanted to be sure it was done,
Yeah.
you know? So thank you. All right. Thanks. Okay. So here, thank you. Here's the 919 number. 919-814-4590. Y'all can see that now, correct?
No.
yes,
I
I
don't see
can.
it. Oh, I
Somebody
see. Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. So you're going to have their name, their social security number, and their date of birth. You could check with the funeral home and see if they will notify them, but they won't notify them about the death benefit, which is what Pat had wanted to ask about, you know. So if my husband, I told him the other day, I said, don't forget, you know, something happens to me, you're going to have to call the retirement system and tell them that I have that death benefit. So they'll know about that. Yes.
This is Lena. Pat has her hand up. I'm sorry.
She was, I think
You want me to go ahead?
Go ahead. Yeah.
When I was doing my pre-planning for death,
Yeah.
I know that the state, they could not help with, so there was not the connection at the funeral home that I went to the orbit.
Right.
So they would not, because it was the state. So I had to deal with another insurance policy that I had,
Yeah.
but they would not make that connection because it was the state, and the state has some different guidelines now.
Yes. Mhm. That's what I think too. So that's why I think you call them just to be sure. Yes. Or you can go on to, you can Google reporting the death of a Teasers member, and there'll be a form that they can fill out. If you don't want to talk to anybody, there's a form that you can fill out.
Colleen, would you mention that NCRSP membership is totally separate from the state? We have no connection with the state.
That's right.
And our insurance benefits come from NEA. So
Right.
that's totally different benefits.
Right. And that also answers a question that Pat was asking. That's not our benefit. So it's, if you were paying into the state that contributory death benefit, whatever money you're giving, that will be there whether you drop your membership with us or not. The one they may be talking about was the one if they were active members. You know, if they're still active, there is that policy that people get. So that you've got to be a member to have that. And then I also put my information down here at the bottom. I've got 2 email addresses and either one works. Carol and Tara know, I'll probably respond quicker to my Bell South because that comes directly on my phone, and the Gmail, sometimes it takes a few minutes to get on the phone, and you can also call me or text me. So if there are no questions on Orbit, I'm going to go to talk about the membership form. Okay, any questions while I'm going to that? Okay, so in talking about the membership form, I'm going to pull up in just a minute the state, the early enrollment form. Okay. And then will you share that? Let me share that.
Should be able to.
It's not, I mean, you share it if you can, because it's, yeah. Okay, let me go to, Okay, all right, now. All right. All right. Here's the 2024-25 membership form. There may be a couple of changes we might make in this, hopefully, but I'm going to tell you what we use this for. As you're talking with new members, potential members, it is better for you to be there with them or with them on the phone and don't just hand them the membership form. I want you to because Linda and I were talking the other day, and she said, I kind of get confused too, because I don't use it that often. So I would suggest that maybe you download a copy of this from our website and just make up something and practice with it as if you're doing a membership form for somebody. So the things that I see, first of all, often when I'm working with people, they don't know if they're a new member or a renewing member. So if they're a new member, that means they have not been in NCRSP before, so they just do the left. The right side, usually we don't have to renew on the forms, but if they do, that's the one they do on the right. If they're new, they put the county where they want to be a member. Like this person I was just talking about earlier with Vivian, she'd been working in Northampton County, but she's going to be a member in Nash, Edgecombe Nash, because that's where she lives now. Encourage them with this form the way it is now, unless it gets changed. They write in the gray spaces, because I've had people just last week when I was down at Chatham with them, these people were trying to write in the white spaces here, and there's not enough room to do that. So we might try to get that reversed, but have them fill that out that way. They do need to put the last four of their social here, because that's the way NCRSP keeps up with that and NEA keeps up with it. Now you can see home phone and cell phone. The way our system is right now with NEA, when leaders get a copy of the member rosters, it won't show the cell phone. It only shows the home phone. So we're working on possibly changing this to say primary phone, and Carol was suggesting maybe we say other phone or something like that, which I think might be good. That way we would get the cell phone number. In the case my husband and I did, although we have a home phone now, as always, we changed it to put our cell phone for both of these. So that way it shows up in NCRSP. So that's an issue with that. Next, you want them to put the date that they retired. As one guy last week couldn't remember what year he retired. So I said, well, just leave it blank. If it was a long time ago and you don't remember. Have them be sure to put their email address, because that's the way for us to contact them. If they're still active employees, they should not put their work email address. They should put, if it's a school email, they should put their personal email address. And most of them will choose this fourth block here. It says, I want to purchase an NCRSP membership only. That would put them in NCRSP, NEA, and NCAE if they do that. But they can spend that $300 one time, and then they only pay $109 a year. They can choose payroll deduction. If they choose payroll deduction, they're going to put their whole Social Security number here. And they can choose either do annual, which means one-time deduction for that year for credit card, or they can do 10 months and a monthly amount. The same thing for the bank draft. They can do 10 months or annual. And most people choose the second of the month because we get paid the 25th of the month. So that kind of works out well with folks. They will send it to Carol, and it says membership, but Carol's the one who gets it. You can also do this, scan it and email. If you do that, email it to Carol. And after you scan it, email it to her, you can take a membership over the phone if somebody's willing to give you that information. Because I'll have people call me and say, I meant to join, I didn't do it. Instead of me getting them a form, having them print it out and then get it back somehow to NCRSP, all they do is they tell me their information, and then down at the bottom, I put where it says member signature, I put info taken by phone and put my name down there and that date. So that seems to work well. If somebody's going from active to retired, they right now have to do a cancellation link from NCAE. If you need that from me, I can get that to you. And they fill that out. Again, that's something you can fill out for them on the phone if they give you their information. And then they'll currently have to complete an NCRSP membership form. So I've got people right now who are retiring this July, and they're canceling NCAE and they're doing the form. Our goal is to get it changed so that they automatically can say what we used to say when we retired. We can say, cancel my NCAE membership and roll me over to NCRSP. And here's the way I want to pay my dues. I continue my bank draft or whatever you want to do that way. So that seems to work well.
Colleen, and they
yes.
will always have the same member ID number when it rolls over from active to retired. Their
Yes.
membership ID number will always be the same. So if they have a new address or a new email, they can update that. But
Yes.
their original information is in the 360, the NEA database, which
That's
is
right.
the national database. So it's real important for them to put their social security number, because there's so many Colleen Laniers across the country.
Right.
We need to find them with their social security number sometimes.
There's too many Colleen Laniers, I can tell you that.
Hi, good morning. My name is Crystal, and I'm calling from Big Virtual Care Center. Trying to reach Evelyn Newkirk.
Somebody needs to be muted, I think. Okay. So, and what I do, Carol and everybody else, if I know their membership number, I put it across the top there, because I think that'll help, you know, when it goes over to NCAE, to the folks at NCAE, because Carol will take it, make sure everything's correct, put what the deduction will be, and then she will send it over to Virginia or to Milo. And also now we prorate, which is wonderful. So all they do, like if they join now, so they only do the deduction in June, it would be $14.40 for this year if they were doing bank draft. And so that's a good thing that we've got now. But then this form, it's next year. So this will start next year. So have y'all got questions about the application? We do have a step-by-step tips that we can get to you that Carol created. It's a real good, helpful thing. So we can share that with you and put it on the website if you would like to have that.
I'll mention about our year. Our year starts in July.
Yes.
Our year's from July to June 30th. However, the dues start in September. So if they sign up for 1 month now, then they would have 2 months off. July and August, no dues would come out of their bank or their credit card, but it starts again the same amount in September. So it's a 10 months if they do bank draft or if they do credit card.
Right. So I would say don't make a whole lot of copies right now, that 2024, in case we do make some changes on it. But if we do, we'll update it on the website. I know Julie will do that if we get some changes made on that. I keep 2 or 3 with me because, you know, you never know when you're going to run into somebody. And if you don't have that form with them, I'll say to somebody, will you call me later? And they don't always do that. So it's good to have a form. Greta, did you have a question or comment?
Yes.
Yes.
We just took 2 members on Monday.
Yes.
4 members,
Yes.
and we charged $36. I haven't done anything with them yet because it's 4. I'm waiting for 5. But do we need to contact them and change this or what?
You can change it yourself since May is almost over, are they, which way are they doing? Bank draft?
I don't know. They're not right in front of me now, but, I think I'm gonna need to contact each one anyway.
Okay, so here's what NCAE does. Their NCAE's policy, if it's after the deduction date, like it's now after May 2nd, so you would only
Oh.
do the June deduction. So it'd be 1440.
However, if they do send in a check for more than 1 month, they will get a credit on next year's dues.
That's correct. Yes.
Oh, we'll get a credit.
Right.
One, and I didn't notice, it's always a little wild at the meetings and
Yes,
it was
ma'am.
our luncheon and, one paid 144, and I think maybe she doesn't hear well because that was stated several times, 36, but
Mhm.
now they're all not right. So, I thought about just holding her check until the 144 covered it all. What do you think of that?
Yes.
Yes.
To do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do they want to come on now or they want to do, start in September?
They did the best we told them and we didn't tell them right. So,
Okay, so you could change at the top of that form if you've still got it and put 20, 24, 25, and then have that check, go in and go and send that in now, right, Carol?
Right.
Yeah,
okay, put 24, 25 at the top.
yes, right.
So that $36 would get counted off of the 144.
I was just talking about the 144 one.
Oh, the
No, they would just,
144 one.
membership would just hold their application and start it September 1st
Yes.
instead of starting it now, June 1st. They
Right.
would start their membership September 1st.
Mhm.
Okay.
But we can send it in July, right? So
You
it
send
can
it
go.
right now,
Yeah.
Pat, yeah,
Yes,
because
we can turn
I'm,
it and
I've
just
got like
let them
4 or
know we
5
want
here.
24, 25.
That's right.
Right.
And what I do, I keep up, because you're not going to get your first member list until like the 7th of September, and you probably have a meeting set up in September. Most of us do. So I try to keep a list and give it to the president also of my local of those new people we've sent in, so that when I send out a newsletter or something and new
Yes.
information, they get that information too.
Right.
Okay.
We're doing that.
Good for you. Okay.
Mhm.
You all did great then. No wonder you were all excited. That's good.
And we got 7 earlier at a
Oh,
membership. So,
Great.
yeah.
Okay, we
Great.
need to know what they had. That's all. That's all we
I
need to know,
know.
what y'all had.
What'd you put in the food?
Oh, we had a wonderful program,
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
entertainment and
Okay.
But
But
Colleen,
remember,
on the membership form,
Yes.
you forgot to mention the line where the campaign signature goes. So we know who to give the
oh,
campaign.
yes, thank you. I'm sorry, because lots of time I don't put my name down there. So thank you. So if you're referring the person, you put your name down or have them put down whoever refers them. And there's also a box there they can check. You remember on the form, they can check that box to show if they want to get a hard copy of the panorama. And especially with our new folks, I think probably next year with the fall one will probably be a hard copy anyway, is my guess. But they'd rather get those hard copies. It would be good for them to do that for a while till they get used to it.
I don't see that. Where are you saying the panorama?
It's on the right side. Let's see if I still got mine. Okay, let's go. Okay, do you see the little box beside dues amount? It's got a little either pink or
Yes.
red. Check here to receive the panorama by US mail. You see that?
Nope. I see dues amount.
Are you looking at mine on the screen?
I'm looking at a 23-24 form. Oh, okay. I don't have what you have. I'm looking at my paper one here.
Okay, all right.
Is yours a 24-25?
It's a 24-25.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
And I can print that?
Yes, you can, it's on the website. It is, but like
Okay.
I said, you probably don't want to print a lot of copies in case we make those changes there.
Oh, okay.
But a few, be good to have a few anyway.
Right.
Yes. But don't forget, everybody you see who's a retiree, it doesn't hurt to say, are you a member of NCRSP? You need to be joining us. And
Okay.
my saying is, they say, why? and I say, we're looking after your retirement to keep it strong, and we're looking after your insurance, because that affects all of us as retirees. And those are my key things, you know, that I say, but y'all probably all have your different things.
Colleen,
definitely-
I say basically the same thing, but I just let them remind them that whenever you signed on the dotted line to become a retiree, your issues changed. They are no longer the same the way they were whenever you were when you were working. So it's basically the same thing you're saying. Jill.
Excellent. That's good. And also if they sub, it will cover them as a sub. Yes, Greta?
I want that form that you said Carol has,
Mhm.
definitely.
The tips, yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna get
Well,
that out.
about the form, was it about filling out the
It's about
form?
application, the steps you do,
Right.
yeah, right,
Okay.
yes. That'll
Can
be
you
helpful.
send that to everybody on this meeting?
Actually, yeah, Carol, you could, and if y'all want that death benefit thing, like if Carol gets me the names, I could send them both those things, Carol, and she gets me
Okay.
those tips, okay?
Okay.
All right. There was one thing, well, you and I can talk later, Carol, but there was one I'd put in the note about, I thought that might be confusing, but the rest of it was great on the tips. Okay, anybody else got questions or comments? I know Mark probably already had to head out. But don't forget to get on Orbit. Just look at your information, play around with it, see what you find out on there. It's helpful to do that and know where everything is. And it comes in handy sometimes instead of you having to call down there. It's on the website to directly name your beneficiary. Okay, all right, Julia says the death benefit is on the website to directly name your beneficiary. Okay, good. That's great. Okay. I did want to say too, one more thing on Orbit I didn't share with you. If your address changes, you can also change that on Orbit. And because we are retirees, we can do that ourselves. Active employees cannot do that. They have to get HR to do it. So you can send in a form. When I was telling you about the forms on there, you can send in a form, or you can just do it right online. And it's called a COA form, change of address. So when you go to that list of forms, it's there.
And Colleen, Julia has it set up so when you go to the website,
Yes.
ncrsp.org, the
Yes.
first thing you see is this leadership program. You click on that and it has the videos and the handouts. So she can put today's handouts on there as well with the video from today.
Okay, so we can coordinate those two and get them on there. That'd be good. Okay. All right, Jeanette, have you got a question or is that, no? Okay, all right. Anybody else? Everybody okay? Well, we're glad you joined us, and go out and help us recruit some members and get on Orbit and find out all these things about yourself and just update things if you need to. There are 3, if you're registering or changing your password, you might want to get on, you might want to go back and look and see what your 3 security questions are in your personal information, because you might have forgotten the first person you ever kissed, and that might have been one of your questions. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate that. Y'all take care.
Thank you, Colleen.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Colleen.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.